this week's species can see from the deepest depths of the ocean. And as anglers, we fish for them during the day and the night, and his favorite food is a squid. If you haven't guessed by now, we're talking about the swordfish here on the Chevy, Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Chevy, Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back to the Chevy, Florida Insider Fishing Report. We hope y'all had a great 4th of July holiday, as it was a beautiful weekend to be out on the water celebrating fishing and freedom, right, Rick?
Absolutely, Bree, and as I can tell from your color that you obviously spent a lot of time in the sun.
I was in the sunshine for sure. Where else would I be? Today we're talking about the infamous swordfish, and I know we're on track with our timing because not only have I seen lots of them being caught all over social media, but I caught my first one ever last week.
You did? And there's a beautiful picture of it.
Yes, it is. I was fishing.
How big was that fish?
It was just under 200. We didn't get to weigh it, but it was pretty big. And that's my friend Brandy. It was her birthday, and it was an awesome day on the water.
Happy birthday, Brandy.
Congratulations. Thanks. It was fun. Well, I know Dave Farrell at the CCA Workbench has a few good bits of swordy knowledge, right, Dave?
I have a good tip for you. Don't put a swordfish on your lap when you're wearing a bikini. Or a billfish, any billfish, because it'll give you a bad rash.
Yeah, whoopsies,
they will give you a
figured
rash.
that one out.
You know anything about that, Bree?
So I was wearing jeans last week. Okay, there's always sorties coming out of the Keys waters. So let's see what our first captain, Randy Tao, has to say. Hey, Randy, I am a newbie.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, when we talk about swordfish, that's really personal to me because I've grown up catching them, and that's probably my favorite fish to catch. Now, there's a few ways to do it. You can go at night and you can drift in the same areas that you'll fish during the day, anywhere from 1,700 to 1,500 feet of water. And at night you can drift with multiple rods. That's what's nice about night fishing. You're doing it in the dark, and you've got your rods staggered in different depths, and you drift along these contours just like you would during the day, but you're fishing much shallower, maybe 100 to 300 feet down. So when you get a bite, it's pretty easy to pick it up out of the rod holder, put it in your harness, and wind them in. Now, daytime fishing, which has become really popular, most everybody's doing the daytime fishing, same depth of water, but only one rod because you're fishing on the bottom, and you want to keep that line on your reel vertical so that you can see the bite. That's very important when the swordfish hits it. There's a couple of guys that come to mind around Islamorada who are extremely good at it. Brandon Muller out of Duck Key, he catches daytime swordfish like no tomorrow. He is one of the best. And also, Captain Nick Stanzik on the Broad-Minded out of Bud and Mary's. Both of these guys really target and specialize in catching swordfish during the day. And I know Nick does a lot of it with stand-up rods. He doesn't use an electric reel. And I have a couple of photos. One is with Brandon with a nice swordfish, and the other one, Nick Stanzik and his customer, Tapani, and he reeled that fish up, no electric motor, 1,700 feet.
Wow. Yeah, just a little shallow water jigging, don't you think?
Exactly.
Hey, good job, Nick. And we also appreciate the video. A lot of the video you guys are going to see tonight with swordfish Nick gave us, so we appreciate that so much. What else you got for us offshore there, Cappy?
You know, we got to still talk about the dolphin, because the dolphin bite's very strong. There's a lot of dolphin, mainly on the birds, and they're schoolie size, they're gaffers, and there's a few big ones. You wouldn't know it by my photographs that I'm catching, because I can't catch a big one, but guys are catching them, and Captain Alex Adler on the Kalex out of Bud and Mary's was telling me a few days ago, he's in the middle of schoolies, catching his schoolies, plenty of them around the boat, and the 45-pounder swims up. They had a rod ready to go. They pitched it out. They caught a slammer dolphin while they were catching schoolies. That's never happened to me in my life, and but it happens to everybody else, which is great. And you know, you just got to be in the right place at the right time, find the right set of birds that has a couple of big ones on. There's a lot of scenarios to make it right, but 300 feet on out, if you find birds, and if you understand the direction the birds are flying, that's going to help you. Are they going with the current, against the current? And these are little tips that are going to be a small fish or on a big fish. I've got a photo that Jason, Perkins, and Angela sent me. They were fishing with Kevin Yater at a marathon on the Maggie May. this was a slammer dolphin they caught just a few days ago.
All right, let's go inshore, bub.
Snook fishing. The snook fishing right now is pretty strong. A lot of guys are taking a break from the tarpon fishing. The beaches are good all along some of the shorelines. Incoming tide's been best from the guys I've been talking to. Live pinfish on a 3/8 ounce hookup is working pretty well, and I had to go take advantage of it with my angler, Captain Adam from Tampa. We got a picture of one of the big snook we caught a couple days ago.
That's a nice fish. Good job there, Cap. All right, what else you got for me? One more.
Mangrove snappers. It's July, and we are covered up with mangrove snappers in the backcountry. Most all of the channels right now, there's plenty of them. On the edge of the reef, if you want to do the night fishing, we're coming up on a full moon. That's prime time to get out on the reef, 45 feet of water, and chum those big mangroves up. But the backcountry has been pretty good. If you want to catch some of the big ones, put a chum bag out, attract some of the small ones, and put a bigger bait out behind the boat where you can't see them. Let it lay on the bottom, and that's how you're going to catch those 5-pounders back there.
All right, Randy, thank you so much. Great pictures. We appreciate it very much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Florida Keys region. Inshore snook. The fish on the rising tide look for on the shorelines and the beaches. Use live pinfish or pilchards with a 1/4 ounce jig head. And then offshore, dolphin. Look for the birds working. Make sure you go the same direction as the fish are moving. Stay with the fish, and then when you find them, watch for Mr. Big.
Mr. Big.
Isn't that something from one of the sitcoms?
Probably,
Jessica's,
but we need to work on that with you. All right, there's always tournaments happening in the Keys, so let's see what's coming up. This weekend's Islamorada Summer Classic is a family-formatted boat tournament series featuring 9 backcountry and oceanside species. Trophies are awarded in weight and release categories, as well as private vessel and charter divisions. The Del Brown Permit Tournament, set for Saturday through next Tuesday in Key West, honors the man who caught and released more than 500 permit on fly off the Keys in his lifetime. The Marathon Marlin Tournament is set for July 14th through the 16th and is to be based at the Faro Blanco Marine Resort in the Middle Keys. The winning team scores a free entry in the Key West Marlin Tournament. And the Havana Club Key West Marlin Tournament features $50,000 in cash prizes and is set for July 19th through the 22nd. The tournament is held in conjunction with Key West's annual Hemingway Days Celebracion. And if that's not enough tournament for you, Andy Newman is here and has more, so let's hear it.
Well, hi guys. It's a brand new fishing competition in the Florida Keys. We're talking about the Islamorada Fly Dolphin Tournament. It's set for July 10th to the 12th and hosted by the Islamorada Fishing Club. There will be prizes for largest fish, combined weight, and most releases. More information at alamoradaclassic.com. That's alamoradaclassic.com. And of course, for more details on all tournaments in the Florida Keys, go to flakeys.com.
Thanks, Andy. Okay, Captain Jimbo Thomas in the Casa Vieja Southeast region is up next with your daytimeman and nighttimeman sword bite. So let's hear it, Jimbo. Rick's making fun of me because I had a monster tonight.
She can't read, Bub. Go ahead.
Lots of energy.
Since those pelagic longlines were outlawed in the Florida Straits about, 16 or 17 years ago, the swordfish have made a huge comeback. Now, traditionally, they are targeted at night, but in the last few years, the daytime sword fishing has become very popular. Lately, both the daytime and the nighttime bite has been really good, and when the weather cooperates, that's the key to successful sword fishing. You want to have decent, calm water so you can stay on top of your line, and plus you don't want to be 15 miles offshore rocking and rolling. Now, typically, we fish in 1,500 to 2,000 feet of water, which is anywhere from 15 to 20 miles offshore, depending on what part of the region you're fishing out of. Squid, big bonita strips, dolphin belly strips, those are favorite baits, or you can go with some live baits, and the live baits only in the nighttime, because the daytime we're dropping just the bonita strips, the squid, and the dolphin bellies. But at nighttime, you can also use the squid and the strips, along with live blue runners, live speedos, live tinker mackerels. Those are all really popular baits. You want to rig with 300-pound monofilament leader, 10-0 to 12-0 hooks, and you want to attach a light at the top of your leader. Now, at night, we drift a spread of baits at various depths from 50 to 400 feet of water and use at least 50-pound tackle or heavier. And then in the daytime, We use electric reels because we're fishing in such deep water. We're fishing on the bottom in that 1,500 to 2,000 foot range, using anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds of weight, depending on what the current is. And these swords are typically anywhere from 50 pounds on up to 300 pounds or more. And in the last 8 to 10 days, there have been a lot of them caught because the weather's been suitable for getting out there. And I've heard of fish up to roughly 300 pounds. So the swords are out there. Now, since we're heading offshore looking for those swordfish, we might as well look for some dolphin along the way. The Gulf Stream's been pretty calm the last week, and it's been real easy to spot any fish activity or anything floating on the surface. There's been quite a few schoolies, anywhere from 6 to 15 miles offshore. They've been around scattered weed lines, any debris, and turtles. And there's been a lot of turtles offshore, so if you see a turtle pop his head up, if you can get a bait up close to him, there's a good chance he's got some dolphin following him. And then most of the schools have also had birds working over the top of them. Now, we've been catching most of the fish on cut bait, and then we like to use cut bonita or ballyhoo, and then any of the larger fish we've come across, we've been pitching live pilchards or cigar minnows to them. And then when the grass hasn't been too bad, we've been getting bites trolling small feathers, lures, and rigged ballyhoo. And then just remember that these dolphin have to be 20 inches to the fork of the tail to be legal, so try not to beat those small ones up, so when we let them go, we can let them grow up and catch them when they get bigger. Now, I got a photo here, and this is a dolphin caught by my brothers, Captain Rick and Steve Thomas. They were running the Thomas Flyer when I was out of town, and this thing bottomed out the 50-pound Rapala scale. So I'm guessing, and they're guessing, that it was roughly around 53, 55 pounds.
Wow, that's a great fish, Jimbo. Tell Rick congratulations. The Thomas Flyer, always producing. All right, let's go inshore, Bubba.
You got it. Now, inshore, the flats of Biscayne Bay have been producing some really good permit and bone fishing. Now, any of the outside flats from Soldiers Key south to Angelfish Creek have been good, especially on the incoming tide. You want to look for the flats that have a hard, corally type bottom with lots of moving water. That's where these fish are going to be swimming around, because that's where all the bait's going to be. You want to use a small blue crab. That's been the bait of choice lately. Or you can use crab pattern flies along with live shrimp, and you want to get out there early in the morning before that sun heats those flats up too hot. Now, our other inshore species is mangrove snapper, which have been biting really good throughout the region. Look for these mangrove snappers around any bottom structures in the bays, the inlets, and in the intercoastal waterway. Channel edges and around the bridges, dredge holes, and wrecks. Those are all going to be holding fish. The best fishing is going to be in the evenings using cut sardines, ballyhoo, or bonita, or small live pilchards, herrings, and pinfish. Now, I know Randy mentioned chumming, but I don't like to chum, since that usually attracts too many of those small fish that are going to steal all your bait. But fish your bait on the bottom with a knocker rig around the outskirts of the structure, and these mangrove snappers have been anywhere from 1 to 4 pounds.
All right, bud, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Casa Vieja southeast region inshore. Permit and bonefish fish the outside flats of Biscayne Bay using live crabs, and then offshore dolphin. Head offshore and look for the weed lines and the birds working over the schools of dolphin, and have a live and cut bait ready.
Let them go and let them grow.
That's right.
That's right.
I like it.
Thanks. We're just getting out on the water, so don't head in just yet. We're fishing in the Southwest region next, and we're also going to learn some new techniques with Dave at the CCA workbench. Dave,
gonna put a little light on it.
There?
Gonna put a little light on the subject.
Oh.
Gonna try to catch some swordfish down deep. These things are awesome.
Sounds good. Dave's getting lit
like the
over
disco.
there. We'll be right back.
I feel like I'm at the disco.
Squirrel.
Disco.
It's been a long time since I was at
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy. Find new roads. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation. Daiquiri Deck. Sarasota's favorite place to meet. Q-Max. Maximum saltwater protection. And Sea Sucker. Get pumped.
Hello, welcome. So Chevy is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Really?
Let's see how quickly you can read through all their awards.
Oh gosh, a lot of pressure.
You ready? Go.
2017 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Kelley Blue Book 2016 Best Resale Value.
2016 JD Power Highest Quality Ranking.
10 Best blah blah blah.
2017 IIHS Top Safety.
Only about 90 more to go.
2017 North American Car of the Year.
That's a lot of awards.
Who would have thought?
Great, now I'm gonna have to go buy a new car.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. Let's now take a look at the FWC news and notes. July 15th is a kids fishing clinic in Palm Coast, and August 5th you can attend a PS boating course in Palm Beach. For more information, visit myfwc.com. But now it's time for rigs and techniques.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and Dave, I'm really looking forward to this segment because I know you and I are going to be filming a Sportsman's Adventure episode, sword fishing, and
Yeah.
I can't wait. So
Well, we're
I'm
going to
all
learn.
ears.
We're going to learn a little bit. I mean, I've done it a few times. The first time I did it was down in Venezuela in like '95. That was the first time I did daytime sword fishing. It's been around for a while in other places, and mainly because in other places where they don't have a lot of current, it's a lot easier to do than it is here in Florida. You know, daytime sword fishing in Florida is a very technical. I mean, it makes blue marlin fishing, you know, look tame in comparison. It's very technical because of the depth that you're fishing and the current. You know, a lot of the guys on the East Coast and in the Keys, they're dealing with a good, you know, Gulf Stream current when they get out to 1,600 feet and deeper. And it's really a challenge to try to keep their bait underneath the boat. And it's very important because when you're got that much line out and you're in 1,600 feet of water, you got to keep it real close to the bottom. And if you're right on top of the bait, you can see the bite. And the bite on a swordfish when he's 1,600 feet down is kind of like that.
That's it.
You're watching, and everybody's staring right at that one rod. You're only using one rod. You're just staring at that one rod, and that rod will go, hey, we got a bite. Oh, really? Right. And then you go over there and you start cranking, and hopefully it'll come tight on the other end. But you know, it's just a long way. And they have so many. I went fishing with Ray Rocher. He came to a Marlin U, and we were specifically trying to catch swordfish. And I fished with those guys 4 days, and I couldn't tell you how we did it. I mean, they have to back troll. They have nighttime. Yeah. Well, both. They have to back troll in that current to keep on top, and they're using these big, it's made out of coat hanger wire that they use. It's a big L, and what it'll do is it'll hold the bait in a big L shape, kind of like the ones you see on the little leaders. You know, you'll buy a surf leader. Right. Well, it's the same thing except on a much larger scale, and they'll hang that thing on their line, and it'll be a hanger so that they can actually shake off the weight. Just really technical stuff. But at nighttime, like you said, it's a lot easier. It's kind of like catching a catfish, really, because what we'll do is we'll float a big jug. We'll get a Gatorade bottle and put a Siloom stick in it, and I'll measure off my distances, because I want to have one about 100 feet down, one about 300 feet down, and one about 400 feet down. You know, it depends on where you are, and you know, the thermocline. If you got a really good sounder, you can see the thermocline, and you want your baits to be bouncing, at least one of them to be right on top of that thermocline, either in the day or the night, if you can see it on your chart. So what we'll do is we'll put another light down close to the bait.
How do you turn these on, Dave?
Well, these are water activated. These are lingering pigments, and I tell you, if you want to know anything about sword fishing, if you call those guys at Lingren and Pittman, Timothy Pickett, he's an engineer there, and he fishes with R.J. Broyle and Brett Holden, those guys. He knows a lot about, he's caught a ton of swordfish here in Florida, and Lingren and Pittman, they make all this stuff to catch them. And he told me he would use sometimes a leader that's 100 feet, you know, 100 foot of 250 pound. And what he'll have like 70, or I mean, he'll have like 80 feet of 250, and then this big connection with a nice swivel, and then another, you know, 30, 40 feet at the end of 250 again. Still 250, he uses the same all the way through. And what this does, mainly because when you're doing this in Florida, you're kind of slow trolling.
Right.
You know, you say you're bumping along, but you're actually slow trolling. So they have to use really streamlined baits down here in Florida. They'll use a squid that's really tied up, real tight, or they'll use bonita bellies that they'll sew up real, they call it a taco. You know, they'll sew it all the way up so it's like it looks kind of like a taco when they get done with it, and it's got a nice
swordfish tacos.
Yeah, exactly, and it's got a little, you know, tail at the end. You know, sometimes two tails, and that thing is pretty much slow trolling it, whatever the current is, right along the bottom, and you want it pretty close to the bottom, you know, because that's where during the daytime all the swordfish are down on the bottom. And at night, they come up in a big migration. There's a whole benthic migration. All the little squids and everything in the whole ocean comes up at night. And when they do that, the swordfish come up with them, and that makes them in our range and a lot easier to catch. If you're not one of those guys who knows how to do all that back trolling and getting out there in the deep water.
It sounds like there's a lot to learn.
There's a lot to learn. There is. I would suggest you go with a good guide 2 or 3 times and let them teach you how to do it.
All right, Bree, I know that you're in favor of going with the guides. Where are we going next?
Yes, I am. Now on the line is our beloved captain from the Bell's Southwest region with your weekend report. So let's hear it, Ronnie.
Well, I'll tell you what, after a good holiday weekend and some good weather, with the exception of having to watch out for some storms, swordfish is not common in the region, but a really good bite that's been extended this year is the red snappers. Captain Mike Avedon tells me concentrate right now from Marco to Fort Myers Beach for some good-sized fish. Depths right now are 150 to 180 in depth. Now, look for these fish off the bottom. You can anchor up using squid or fresh bonita. But Mike's been telling me the bigger fish have been coming on live sardines and cigar minnows. And like I say, he's been catching bigger fish on the live baits. Now, also in those areas, carry some light gear with you with some pink and white jigs for plenty of schoolie dolphin. He's also telling me there's still some scattered sails, but look for the birds. You'll get around some dolphin. You'll get around some sailfish. And I've got a photo of a prime red snapper caught in the last few days. This is Gabby with a nice red snapper caught with Captain Mike Avedon, so they are out there. Now, also on the offshore side, we're going to talk about the groupers. Now, we got a bite that's starting to move in pretty close. We want to concentrate in the depths right now from 50 to 70 feet. Concentrate from Stump Bass to Fort Myers Beach. Now, good moving water has been the key for a good bite, and it really doesn't matter which direction the tide is going. Look for hard bottom. You'll be surprised, he's telling me, with the smaller pieces are holding some good-sized fish. Once you start locating these fish, cut baits like squid, sardines, and herring, drop down, and once you hit the bottom, crank up once and hold on. And I've got another picture of Mason Wynn with a nice red grouper in those depths. Now, on the inshore side, we're going to concentrate. There's a good tarpon bite still going on from Fort Myers Beach, the Stump Pass along the coast, and the passes out to 20 feet. Also at nighttime on the bridge spans. And during the day, you want to look for positive fish, also free-jumping fish and rolling fish. That'd be a great place to start. But always scan the horizon while you're looking for fish or you're hooked up to keep an eye on where the school's going. Get ahead of them and let them come to you. Don't motor up on top of these fish. You can forget about it. Baits have been live crabs, pinfish, herring, free-liner under a cork. Now, the same baits can be used at night, especially if there's good current. Tide really doesn't matter in which direction as long as you've got good moving water. If you can't get any of these live baits, simple 4 to 6 inch swim bait, and a simple artificial shrimp, Bass Assassins and Glow, Papa Smurf or root beer, and you'd be surprised what a small 4-inch shrimp will catch. And I've got a picture with Captain Dan Latham with a tarpon release with Michael Jennings. Now also on the inshore side, the redfish. Now with the rainwater starting to change the salinity, concentrate from Panther Key to Rabbit Key, fishing the outer Gulf Islands. Now you want to concentrate on fishing the oyster bars with mullet combined. Now the higher stages on the tide, you want to get on top of the oyster bars with knocker rigs. Now, wait for the fish to take the bait. There's a purpose for throwing the knocker rig in the oyster bars. If the fish are pecking at it, don't try to set the hook. You're going to get caught up in the oyster bars. Wait for the fish to take it out using circle hooks. Cut shrimp, mullet, ladyfish, or feline pilchards. Also with the water changing colors, half-ounce gold spoons or the Bass Assassin salty snack in the dark water. Snowstorm color on a jig head. And I got another picture of another nice redfish caught up in the northern end of the region while fishing with Captain Dan Latham.
All right, Ronnie, great report. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the southwest region. Inshore, trout, Lossman's River to Clam Point on the low water. You want to check the outside edges using noise-making corks. And then offshore, mangrove snapper, full moon, nighttime bite is red hot. Nearshore wrecks and artificial reefs off the coast of Collier County is where you're going to find those mangoes.
Okay guys, we're still chugging along here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, so don't leave us just yet. We have the East and Central West regions for you, and we're also chatting it up with one of our CCA Star Tournament winners, so stay hooked and we'll be right back.
Look at that beautiful king sailfish.
Wow. Wow, wow.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. The American Fishing Tackle Company, precision tackle and performance clothing since 1958. Best parts, best prices, Bennett Auto Supply. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left, there's no cycle.
When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Hello, welcome. So Chevy is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Really? Let's see how quickly you can read through all their awards.
Oh gosh, a lot of pressure.
You ready? Go.
2017 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Kelley Blue Book 2016 Best Resale Value.
2016 JD Power Highest Quality Ranking. Wow. 10 best blah, blah, blah.
2017 IIHS Top Safety.
Only about 90 more to go.
2016 2017 North American Car of the Year.
That's a lot of awards.
Who would have thought?
Great, now I'm gonna have to go buy a new car.
Well, welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. With me is Jay Carter and Jordan from Contender. Now, Jay, you have some really cool, exciting things to tell us. So why don't you tell us what happened? You just caught a tagged redfish.
Yes, sir. I was fishing Monday a week ago up in Jacksonville, where I'm from, and what started out an ordinary fishing day, just getting rid of some old bait, turned serious real quick. When I netted up one of the star tagged redfish for the CCA tournament.
Now I know that there's some certain hoops that you have to jump through. You have to be a registered angler
yes, sir.
In the CCA Star Tournament, and you also have to be a member of CCA.
Yes, sir.
So obviously you had done that.
Yes, sir. And you also have to have the official measuring stick as well, which I did not have in the boat.
So
yes,
how did you qualify then?
Well, I got lucky and called my little brother, and he was able to drop everything he had going on and rush over to the academy and pick one up for me.
Now, isn't there a certain time frame that you have to do all of this, pictures and register the fish and all that? You got what?
Yes, sir. You have 2 hours to do it.
So there's a lot of different choices or gifts that you could, or prizes. So
yes,
why don't
sir.
you tell us a little bit about what you chose?
I chose the Contender 22-foot Sport.
Let's take a look at some video of what you just won.
Yes, sir.
It's like, let's make a deal. So here it is, the beautiful Contender 22 Sport. Obviously a center console bay boat design. The great part about what I'm seeing here, Jay, is that it's got the Yamaha 250 on the back, and now your fishing has just been opened up to bay,
yes, sir,
inshore, and offshore fishing. So, Jordan, what do you think about a man who has lots of choices, a truck, and a variety of different boats, and he chose a Contender? What do we want to say about that?
Smart man.
It was an easy choice to make. Very easy choice. Didn't take long at all.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome to the family.
Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you.
On behalf of Contender Boats, we want to present you the key to the kingdom.
Thank you so much.
And welcome to the family of Contender. Jordan.
Congratulations, Jay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you.
much at Contender, what you do for CCA and CCA Star. But Bree, you know what? We got some other things we need to do. Guys, don't go anywhere. Bree, where are we going next?
Well, apparently South Florida isn't the only place swords like to hang out anymore. So listen up if you're in the East Region, and Captain Mike Holliday will fill you in.
God, that's the truth. You know, when you think of sword fishing in my region, most people want to head to the very southernmost stretch down off Boynton Beach. But the word is starting to get out about the great swordfish action taking place throughout the Treasure Coast. The key is putting in your time and finding the right depth where the fish are holding. When, you know, this time of year, that's anywhere from 1,700 feet of water on out to about 2,200 feet of water. You want to listen to the radio for the chatter on where that bite's taking place. But there's also a handful of buoy fishermen out there, and those guys are usually locked into the right depth, so if you see them in the area, you know you're pretty much in the right spot. For baits, anything from a whole ladyfish or bunker to the traditional, you know, rigged squid will work, but a lot of the hardcore swordfish guys are going to a bonita or dolphin belly, and they sew it up with a hook in it, and that keeps it from spinning on the line when you drop the bait down. Daytime bite is on the bottom, when nighttime bite's on top. Average swordfish in my region is going to be 60 to 100 pounds, with fish to 350 pounds being caught right now. The other thing we got going, staying right with the, billfish, the summertime sailfish bite is really going off. The problem is that it's all over the place. And I mean, like off Jupiter, it's in anywhere from 120 to 300 feet of water. Off Hope Sound, it's 90 feet of water that seems to be hot. Off Stewart, it's anywhere from 100 feet of water to 260 feet of water. And, you know, and then there's fish that you find running the beach in 25 feet of water that are just kind of cruising along. So there's really no rhyme or reason to the bite. But it does seem to be concentrated in the areas that are holding bait schools or have a well-developed either current rip or edge that tends to push the bait up towards the surface. I had 2 sales of my live chum on Saturday, 2 sales of my chum on Sunday. You know, so that live chumming game's certainly bringing in a lot of fish right now. I've also talked to guys that are slow trolling with live baits that have had 4 or 5 fish on at once, which means, you know, you want to keep your baits in the water after you hook a fish so you can get those multiple sailfish bites. Sardines, pilchards, threadfins, and goggle eyes, those have been the top baits, but trolled ballyhoos also been catching plenty of fish, particularly, you know, for the guys that are picking away at 1 or 2 every time they go out. Average sailfish right now is 40 pounds, and I got a photo there. That's Britt Oster with one of 4 sailfish they caught. They were in 300 feet of water straight off the Juneau Pier, and that fish ate a live sardine.
Hey, Mike, before you go inshore, we're going to talk a little bit about the Lake Worth Inlet and also what's going on there. Great time of year to fish. Now, guys, here's what you need to understand. Captain Mike said on the South Jetty, right along in here, what ends up happening is the snook on the incoming tide are going to stack up. And as you can tell by the sonar soundings that the Navionics has through the fishing chip as well as the sonar chip, the key is that the fish are laying right here on the drop-off. Now, as the tide starts to fall, they're going to come out of the inlet, and then they're going to simply stage right here on the end of the inlet. Now, for those of you guys that like to catch tarpon, you can actually come right in here first thing in the morning, and you can look for those tarpon to be laid up in that clean water. It doesn't seem to matter whether it's incoming or outgoing tide. Isn't that correct, Mike?
That is. It's sort of like a spot that the migrating fish station themselves, right on the north side of that inlet. So first light, a lot of times you pull up and they'll just be all wadded up or floating right there before they start moving north. And, you know, as long as we're on that subject, let's talk about the tarpon migration. There's still schools pushing north along the beach throughout the region, as well as, you know, smaller schools of fish or little pods or strings of them that are holding on the reefs and around the inlets and around any bait schools that are close to shore. In my area, you can run the beach looking for fish or work the inlets pretty much on any of the outgoing tides. You can also find the resting fish in the Vero Cove on the north side of Palm Beach Inlet, on the north side of St. Lucie Inlet in the bathtub area, and resident fish around the Roosevelt Bridge at night or around the Harbor Branch section of the St. Lucie River. The Loxahatchee River up around the Boy Scout camp has some smaller fish, as does Big Mud Creek, which is typical for this time of year. Live bait like mullet or pilchards have been working well on the fish inside the rivers as well as all around the inlets. On the beach, it seems like live crabs, pilchards, and Spanish sardines are what's producing the bites. And it seems like, you know, the best action on the beach has been in the afternoon. Not a lot of fish in the morning other than right near the inlets, and then middle of the day they're popping up and maybe moving in from offshore. Average tarpon's 80 to 100 pounds. The other thing we got going on, the first big push of summer snook took place last week. There's more fish coming into the inlets on pretty much a daily basis right now. What's weird is that there's not a lot of those smaller male fish around the inlets. There's a lot of big females, but there's a lot of smaller males out on the beaches. So when those two get together, likely on this next full moon, then that summer snook bite's going to be in full swing. Remember, it's only catch and release. For now, it's kind of a pick a fish here, pick a fish there kind of situation. But a lot of those fish are big, so when you do get the bite, it's a good thump, and a lot of fish that are over 20 pounds. Lures like a saltwater assassin 4-inch shad in that green hornet color or a topwater plug. Those are working early and late in the day, basically during the low light conditions. And then when the sun's up, live redfin, sardines, pilchards, croakers, those are king, during the high sun conditions that we get middle of the summer here. Average snook's going to be 12 to 15 pounds, fish to 25 pounds in the week in the mix. I got a photo there. That's Joe Femniani. He's from Pittsburgh. That's a big snook that we caught in the inlet this week, and that fish ate a live croaker.
Congratulations, Joe. All right, Mike, you know, each week we talk about some bass fishing. So what do you have for a bass report?
Well, water levels are up a foot or so on Lake Okeechobee. They're still not super high, but just high enough that it's pushing a lot of the fish to the outside grass lines. I was talking to Scott Martin. He's saying that, there's an incredible shad bite on the outside Kissimmee grass down in Clewiston. Just on the outside grass lines, look for the Kissimmee grass. It's mostly school fish. The bite's from dawn to about 9 a.m., throwing white frogs or white swim jigs. He said, if you don't see or hear fish breaking, move to another spot because it's really obvious. Once you find them, you can catch 100 fish by 9 o'clock in the morning. Big bass bite is still on the bluegill bed for the guys that are throwing swim baits. Anything with a chartreuse tail right now. Live shiner bites also good around Observation Shoal. Most of the guys there are catching 25 to 30 fish, up to 7 pounds by 10 o'clock in the morning. Problem is it's been really hot on the lake. That summer heat has really been kind of shutting the bite down in the middle of the day. So, Lake Okeechobee's hot in more ways than one right now if you get an early start.
All right, thank you so much, Hollywood. Great report from the East region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from Captain Mike's region. Inshore, he says tarpon, jacks, kingfish, and bonitas on the beach off of the ocean villas, pilchards, mullet, and swim plugs. And then offshore, kingfish, dolphin, sailfish, and blackfin tunas off the Ernest Reef, live sardines, as well as pilchards or trolled ballyhoo is going to work for those guys, Bree.
Well, you want to catch a swordfish in the Startron Central West region, you say? Well,
yes.
If you pay close attention to Captain Jeff Page, he might be able to put you on him. Hey, Jeff.
Yes, I might, but you know what? I was listening to Holiday's report, and it's a lot different over here in my region due to having to get so far out into the Gulf. But guys that are willing to put the time in are going to be rewarded in the Startron Central West region, because once you get out there, and I'm talking out by the steps, out near, the color change out there in real deep water, and it's a nighttime game. They do get them occasionally in the day, but due to lack of current, it's a nighttime game. And what the guys like to do here, Rick, is they'll put out 3 rods. They'll put out a deep rod at 300 feet. They'll put out a mid rod at about 200 feet, and then they'll put out a transom rod at 100 feet. And they'll separate them. They'll put a good space in between each 3 while they're drifting so that they don't get tangled up. And the key is changing up your baits. Rigged squid works real well. Bonita bellies, dolphin bellies, mahi bellies work real well. and then you have the light rigs on every one. Average sword in my region, 60 to 70 pounds, but don't be surprised if you get one over 100. Staying offshore, species 2, red grouper, nice 24 to 30-inch red groupers, holding over hard bottom in the 80 to 100 feet range. The key, Rick, has been not staying in one place too long and bringing a mixture of frozen sardines and squid. Captain Tim Noe, the Flying Fish Fleet out of Marina Jacks, has been limiting out on the red groupers as well as mangrove snapper. No problem. We've got a nice photo tonight of a happy client with a red grouper he got aboard Flying Fish with Captain Tim Noe.
Let's go inshore, bub.
Inshore snook fishing remains the mainstay of my region, with lots of quality fish being taken along the beaches from Gasparilla Pass north to Minnesota Rocks. Live pilchards and pinfish have been the best live bait, and the fly anglers, Rick, have been doing real well walking along the beach, say that 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning when they've got some pretty good light, throwing small white clousers, casting parallel to the beach, and picking up nice snook that are laid up along the beach. I heard Mike talking about a mixture of males and females. We got the same thing right now. You might see 2 big females in one area, and then there'll be a cluster of 30 males just down the way. To the north, guys are catching nice snook off Rattlesnake Key and Longbar Point with topwater plugs and subsurface plugs like the scaled live target scaled sardine. And I've got a nice snook photo of one of my good clients, Josh Ragland, and his daughter Carolyn. They're from South Carolina. It was a nice snook they got with me last week.
All right, what else you got for us there, Cap?
Finally, mangrove snapper, lots of mangs holding over the old Skyway rocks and the bridges around Cortez and Manatee Avenue. Live pilchards or pieces of pilchards, shrimp too, have been the best bet. And what you want to do, Rick, you want to use your spot lock on your trolling motor or get anchored up current of your fish and chum them up. And real quick, next Thursday, I've got my fish tails at Sunset Chevrolet at 6:30 p.m. with longtime Sarasota fishing captain Johnny Walker and his grandson, Captain Trey Deep.
So, Jeffrey, I do have a question for you. You know, it's getting to be time where there should be some redfish around. Why have we not had any redfish in your reports lately?
That has been the million-dollar question in the Central West region. And you know me, I talk to a lot of different captains, and it seems to be real scarce as far as even a bycatch. Like while you're snook fishing, you might pick up 1 or 2 redfish. But as far as targeting a group of them, hasn't happened yet. I've heard tales, and maybe on this next full moon we're going to get a good push of them. So all we can do is hope.
All right, bud. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck Central West hotspots. Captain Page says, inshore, you want to go speckled trout. Nice 17 to 20-inch specks off of Emerson Point and Rattlesnake Key. And then offshore, mangrove snappers. Full moon snapper bite is over hard bottom and ledges in 55 to 80 feet of water, Bree.
You know what? Now that you mention it, it is weird hearing Jeff not talk about redfish.
I know.
It just isn't right.
It's like that redfish doesn't want to be in that Central West region.
Well, he's always the star, so maybe he's just taking a little break.
Well, he knows that the Moore family's there. He knows that Paige is there waiting for him. There's a plethora of guys just waiting to catch him.
A plethora. You steal my words. Okay, hey anglers, get excited because we're headed up to the Panhandle region next and then going shopping for some new products with Dave Farrell at the CCA Workbench. What you got, Dave?
Well, I tell you, if you're going to be heading out to see and catch a swordfish at night, you're going to need some night track. Oh. This is what this is.
That's what that is.
Tracking them at night. They're not safe anywhere they go.
It's fishing just not fair anymore, is it? No. We'll be right back, guys.
I'm going to go out and get them.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Navionics, we start where the road ends. Soft Science, supreme comfort footwear. Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. Real legends, exclusively at Bell's. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. built for the rigors of offshore boating, packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 four-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Hey, how do you like your contender? How do I like my contender? What's not to like?
Dude, I just saw a contender, and man, I gotta give me one.
So Dave, we're here at the CCA workbench and we've got a lot of cool products. Certainly products that apply to tonight's theme. Have to run in the dark to go sword fishing.
Yeah, and if you're gonna be heading out at night, you're gonna need some night vision. And this new night track is just amazing. And we have a little video, I guess, that you took a couple days ago. We should go ahead and run that and show them what they got to see.
So here we are in Islamorada, and this looks like it's first dawn, of course, you know.
Right.
Actually, Dave, it was at 5:30 in the morning. I mounted this on the console. I'm shooting this through the windshield of my Pathfinder. I scanned to the left, and that's how dark it was. Can you believe how well this sees? So the great part about this for me was I was able to run all the way back into the backcountry in the black of night and get there at first light.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's a home run.
It makes a big difference, you know. And what's really good about this is the portability of it. You know, if you get the Pro Bag, it comes with all the mounts and stuff. You can take this thing from your bass boat to your big offshore boat to your inshore boat where you're going, your airboat,
four-wheeler, your airboat,
yeah, if you're
your
going,
buggy during hunting season.
Exactly. It's got 4 times the resolution as some of the other units, and it's like 1/3 of the cost. I mean, it's really
what are we talking here? 3,000,
yeah,
3,400,
3,000 bucks, 3,500 bucks for this one. When you get all the stuff, it comes with batteries. It'll run like 7 or 8 hours off that battery.
It'll plug also into your cigarette lighter right there on your console.
So, you know, the night track, you know, it's the next big thing in the night vision, and it also has an illuminator. You can be in pitch black. It doesn't get ambient light. You can hit that illuminator button and boom. Yep, it'll blow it up
and
for you.
And the Lord said, "Let there be light."
Exactly. Well, Night Track said, "Let there be light," and there is. Pro Bag.
What else we got,
Get
Dave?
that. All right. Well, next we got some Halco trembling plugs, or lipless plugs. You know, these things are great when you're out there trolling for wahoos or kingfish or tuna or whatever. You know, they call it a bibless in Australia because, you know, that's what they don't have a lip on it.
They don't have no lip.
That's right. And they make them in 2 sizes. This is the Max 130. That's the new Max 180 right there. And, you know, just, you know, go 12 knots. You know, you can pull that thing at 12 knots, and which is great if you want to be high-speed wahoo trolling. A lot of lipped plugs can't go that fast. They do make them that can, but that one, you know, is really good. It's got 7/0 inline hooks on it. You know, everybody's going to the inline. 9 different color options. And what's really good about these is how slender they are in the tail. Because when they come and eat this tail, if they don't have a great big, it's hard to hook wahoos and kingfish a lot of times on these things anyway. But the nice slender tail makes them a lot easier to hook on that.
Yeah, you get the bite and slide.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. All right, now we got these new concept, the twin spinning spoons. Spinning spoon. Yeah, it's called the spinning spoon. This fella lives up in the Jacksonville area, and
I might want to take some of these home to Miss Murphy.
I'm telling you, his name's Rob Coxey, and he makes these, at home. He loves to add flash and rattles to things, and he's taken the traditional wobbler spoon and he's put the little spinner on the back, and he says, you get a lot of short strikes on the spoons, and they come after that little spinner back there, and they get nailed, and you can't beat a gold spoon.
Hammer finish.
Yeah, a little hammer finish. Really
cool
good weed guards.
He
makes them in 2 different styles too. You got the big weed guards like this. If you're pulling it through, real heavy stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so.
I like it.
Yeah, new concept lures.
Good
That's
job, guys.
The spinning spoon.
New concept.
It comes at 1/8, 1/4 up to a 1/2 ounce. All right, now we got a bunch of soft baits here. These are from Razor Baits. We had a couple of their spinning baits on about a month ago. But he makes 16 different styles of soft baits. Everything from your, the stick baits, the sluggos and the sluggo types.
Right.
The Florida frogs. He's got big Okeechobee frogs.
That's a frog.
Yeah, big Okeechobee, 4.5 foot frog, 4.5 inches. Yeah. You get something to eat a 4-foot frog. We're talking about something. This is one of my favorite ones. This is called the Freak, and you put that on a big jig head, that thing's gonna pull up some nice one. He's also got one called the Dart. I'd like to show you that one. This one's called the Dart, and it's a very neat swim bait. It comes with a
that is cool.
A very slim
unique
body.
Looking.
Yeah, very unique, very slim body, and a little tail to kick it around. So anyway. Finishing up, we got, Bennett's doing every week. We're doing a special product, and this week we're talking about the 50 amp and the 60 amp Bussman fuses. And every boat has an outboard. It's probably got a 50 or a 60 amp fuse on it.
In the wiring harness.
Exactly.
And a lot of guys don't know that.
And that thing blows and you don't have one, you're in trouble.
Right.
Same thing.
Nothing will work.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with your trolling motor. A lot of them also have the 50 amp fuse in the line as well for their trolling motor. So
good
get to
work
Bennett.
over here at the bench tonight, man.
Yeah, man.
He is earning his keep over here, Bree. What about you?
Trying.
Always earning my keep, Rick. You know that. Filling in for Pat Deneen in the Panhandle region today is Captain Hunter Forbes, who has some good news if y'all are trying to get a sortie hookup. Hey, Hunter.
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Good. All right, so we got swordfish this week. The bite's been good here in the Panhandle lately. The majority of the anglers are fishing during the night for these swordfish. But the ones putting in the time during the day have been very successful as well. We got several well-known areas here that constantly produce the swordfish. The Spur, DeSoto Canyon, the dumping grounds, and the steps. These fish are found around ledges or structure in 1,000 to 1,600 foot of water. You can use anything from large squid, Boston mackerels, dolphin bellies, or bonita strips. And taking the extra time to throw your baits onto the hooks is really a good idea. In the daytime, focus your efforts to deeper water and fish your baits a lot closer to the bottom. A lot of anglers are using the breakaway style weights for this to get the bite. At night, you can fish a couple lines for them. You're going to be staggered in depths from 100 to 300 foot deep. Using an 18-aught circle hook and a 20 to 30 foot 300-pound leader. Also try to use a light or a glow stick at the top of your leader to help you increase your bites there. The majority of these fish are going to be around the 75 to 150-pound range. I got a photo here for you guys. This was a swordfish caught with Captain Corey Hurst on the Misbehaving out of Destin.
Nice
fish. Swordfish there, caught it nice.
Thank you. Thank you for the pick, Hunter. All right, tell me about the wahoo fishing, bub.
All right, man. These are hard-fighting fish that make great table fare. You're going to start in about 250 foot of water on out. You'll find them. You can always high-speed a Yozuri Bonita or other conehead lures around 14 to 18 knots. Put your lures out also in between bottom fishing spots. You can pick up a good bonus fish. If you head out a little bit deeper in areas such as the nipple or 131 hole, the squiggles at the spur, all these hold those fish well, especially when the water cleans up just a bit. Patrolling these areas, be sure to keep your binoculars handy. Any kind of trash or wood floating is liable to hold a lot of these fish as well as some dolphin. And be sure to rig your lures with cable or heavy wire because they do have some sharp teeth. We're going to be moving inshore. We got Jack Ravel this week. They've moved into bays in full force. You can find these fish are on the bridges or wrecks for most of the summer, but here lately they've moved onto the flats. These are extremely aggressive fish, and they hit anything put in front of them just about. This makes for a great topwater bite. We find them schooled up and busting on top. And a live bait's going to work well in just about any other situation. Look for the large schools of bait out in the middle, such as the menhaden or mullets as well. The calm mornings are a great time to do this. If you put your time in riding around and covering ground, you're liable to find these fish up on top, blowing up on those baits. These fish are anywhere from 15 to 40 pounds. It's also a great fish to catch on the fly. Try the big poppers. I got another photo here for you. This was a big jack caught this past week with my dad, Captain Troy Forbes of 38 Guide Service, and he was fishing around those big menhaden schools in the Choctawhatchee Bay.
All right, so tell me about the Spanny Max, bub.
All right, we got a good number of Spanish mackerels that have been coming in the bay systems lately. We're finding them inside the passes or deeper holes and ledges throughout the bays. There's a few different ways to catch these fish. If you're around the passage, try throwing the straw rigs or casting some spoons or mirrodines. And if you're live baiting, a 3 to 4 inch menhaden is a great choice. Set up around the drop-offs near the grass flats in the 6 to 10 foot range, and be sure to chum heavy. These fish are really responsive to that. You can use a light wire leader for the circle hook, and that's going to work the majority of the time. You'll occasionally get lucky on mono with that as well. And these same numbers, same areas are holding pretty good numbers of trout as well.
All right, Hunter, I got a question for you before you go. You've been filling in for Pat for the last few weeks, and I got a question. I want to ask you, what's your favorite fish to fish for, and what do you like to guide for?
Good question.
Man, those jacks are fun during the summertime. I spend all day today chasing them. Just big schools blowing up. They're just so aggressive. All the anglers like to see that explosive bite on top, and that's always a good time, I feel like. And you also got a lot of redfish mixed in with them.
All right, good to hear from you. Appreciate all your effort in the last few weeks. Look forward to working with you again. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Yeti Panhandle region inshore. Look for the jacks in Choctawhatchee Bay, busting on top around the flats or the mid-bay bridge. And then offshore, swordfish, the bites around the spur. Fish for them day or night in around 1,200 to 1,600 feet of water. That's way on down there.
That is way on down there. All right, look alive, Central, East, and Northwest regions, because we're headed to you next, right here on the Chevy, Florida
Insider Fishing Report.
Aw,
I don't sing too good.
Nope.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. StarTron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing, your fish hunt paddle store. And Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist.
Hello, welcome. So Chevy is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Really?
Let's see how quickly you can read through all their awards.
Oh gosh, a lot of pressure.
You ready? Go.
2017 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Kelly Blue Book 2016 Best Resale Value.
2016 JD Power Highest Quality Ranking. 10 best blah blah blah.
2017 IIHS Top Safety.
Only about 90 more to go.
2016 2017 North American Car of the Year.
That's a lot of awards.
Who would have thought?
Great, now I'm gonna have to go buy a new car.
Flagler Construction Equipment is your certified Takeuchi equipment dealer, servicing 55 counties in Florida. With Takeuchi, you get brute strength combined with bulletproof durability. That means low downtime and optimal production. Flagler Construction Equipment is the partner for all your Takeuchi sales, service, and rental needs, and your first and last stop for legendary customer service and support. Pros know Takeuchi. Get to know Flagler Construction Equipment by stopping by one of our 6 locations or visit us on the web at www.flaglertakeuchi.com.
So we're here at our local Chevy dealer, and I brought my Chevy expert, Edward Bailey, in to help me. Ed, certainly the Colorado is no stranger to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, but what we have new this year in regards to the Colorado?
Well, we came out with the Colorado a few years ago, talked about the diesel last year, which has done absolutely phenomenal. This year, we're adding the ZR2 off-road performance package, which everybody's looking for. So that's going to be a great off-road piece for anybody that's looking for true off-roadness. But we've always talked about the Colorado being the vehicle that, if you want to make it personal and really put some accessories. So, when you first start off and you look at a vehicle, you want protection. Whether it be protection, floor liner, if you get in, after a muddy day in the woods or on the beach or wherever you might be, to the protection in the bed. But accessories go well beyond that. So, during the day you may want toolboxes in it or a rack to put your kayak or, canoe. But during the day you want a nice step bumper. So maybe you can get that fine lady you want to take out for evening in this great looking vehicle out for the night.
Now certainly, Ed, inside the vehicle, we still have our MyLink, as well as we have the ability to be able to check all the things that are going on in the truck, our fuel economy, our tire pressure, what kind of cruise control ranges that we have. So that still applies in the Colorado as well, right?
Yeah, great economical vehicle all the way around, fuel economy, just economical for purchase. If you don't need that big truck and you're looking for that mid-size option, great towing available to it. And again, we talk about these accessories. You don't just have to get them when you buy the vehicle. You can always buy accessories after the fact. So if you already own one of these great Colorados, take it to your local Chevy dealer and we can add them. We can also put them on right when you buy it and build it into the financing. There's a lot of ways to go with that. The best part is it carries the GM warranties, and that's really, really important today, especially in the world of accessories.
So guys, if you have any questions about the Colorado or any Chevy vehicle, just go to your local Chevy dealer. Make sure you tell them Edward sent you. So Bree, the cool part about the Colorado is that it comes with a Duramax 2.8 liter turbo diesel, as well as some of the other motors,
Well,
really cool.
Chevy, gotta get you one.
Yep.
Well, you want Swordfish in the Bell Central East region? Captain Jim Ross has just the ticket for landing one. Hey Jim, tell us what's going on up there.
Hey gang, I tell you what, we sure do. Specifically swordfish, they're known historically as a nocturnal predator, and they generally live thousands of feet down in the water. And anglers out of this Central East region have to run 50 to 90 miles to target them on overnight trips in most cases. But I'll tell you what, things in the Central East region are changing. We've got a new breed of angler emerging onto our fishing scene, and I'm telling you what, it is exciting right now. We got a bunch of young guns out there like Captain Kyle Kasiba, and they've figured out how to catch these fish in the daytime hours out of our region, like some of the guys have done out of the other regions. Now, Kyle is consistently getting bites from daytime swords in 1,400 to 2,000 feet of water, I should say, over the past couple of weeks. He's using very large baits and says that chunk baits actually are preferred right now, like jack, barracuda, bonita. These seem to be the top picks for baits right now. He's using electric reels. Obviously, 10, 12 pounds of weight is needed to get to these depths, but this is paying off. And I've got a picture here of one of those fish that Kyle Kasiba has caught, those swordfish lately. And then I'll tell you what, most of our fish are running 50 to 150 pounds, but there's some larger fish that are definitely possible here. Now, the second picture I've got of Kyle is of something I don't think that's ever been shown on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report in the history of the show. It is called a pomfret. This is another deepwater species that Kyle has been catching lately, and so we're really excited about some of the new types of species that are opening up to this deepwater sword fishery, as well as the swordfish.
That looks like a deepwater permit.
That's crazy.
That is so cool, man. It's prehistoric looking.
Now, I'll tell you what, the mangrove snapper bite, Rick, is going to be off the chain this weekend. We've got a full moon on Sunday night, and these fish are getting ready to go into spawn mode over the next couple of nights. The bite should be one of the best bites of the year from now through the weekend. Get yourself out there. Get set up on your structure. Start running your chum. Pull those fish up in the water column. And once you've got them up there, drift those chunk baits back. You know, little VMC Coastal live bait black, the Coastal Black live bait hook seems to be working really good in a 1/0 or 2/0 size. Keep your leader light because those fish have got good eyes and they're going to see that leader. But I tell you what, we're getting ready for some 5 to 10 pound class mangrove snapper this weekend. So get out there and get you some of that. Now moving to inshore, we've got a really decent little flounder bite that's kind of kicking in here in the midsummer. And it's a little bit deeper water action than what some of the guys are typically used to out of Canaveral, out of Ponce, even on some of the wrecks outside of Sebastian. You're dropping down with some shrimp or some finger mullet. But as we get to this full moon, the better the tides, the better the bite's going to get. And also inside, from Edgewater to Oak Hill and even down into the Mesquite Lagoon. The channel edges and the spoil islands through that entire area are going to be good. And then Palm Bay through Vero, once again, because we have the tide from Sebastian. Lots of fish moving up into the shallows at night. Live shrimp, live mud minnows are working good there too. Put them on a little hookup jig head or a little assassin jig head, and those fish right now are running 2 to 5 pounds. And I've got one of those, picture of one of those with Jody Calderon and one of those nice little flounder that we're starting to get at this time of the year.
Looks good.
Now, our last species is speckled trout, and of course, you've been talking about it, I've been talking about it, we've all been talking about it. The Mosquito Lagoon this week is still the place to be. The deeper grassy areas or slightly dirty water is where you're going to find those fish. Lure anglers are doing really good right now. The Saltwater Assassin butt-naked colored 4-inch sea shad on a 1/8 ounce Assassin spring-lock jig head, fantastic go-to bait to catch these fish. Also, anywhere where you have mullet congregating, you're going to find some of those bigger fish. And of course, with the bigger fish, or the numbers of fish as well, we're typically getting them on live pigfish again. Put those down along those channel edges, in the sloughs and bars, like Van Slough is a really good place to fish right now, and then the outside edge of Tiger Shoal. Our average trout is running 12 to 17 inches, and I tell you what, I wanted to mention again, we have another CCA star tagged redfish that was caught in the Mosquito Lagoon this week. The angler was not registered, so guess what? The fish went back in the water, and you guys and gals have a chance to catch that fish this coming weekend. So make sure you sign up for the CCA Star Tournament and get out there and catch you one of these quality tagged redfish.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date on that, Jim. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Central East region. The sea sucker hotspots are inshore, flounder near the Spoil Islands from Wabasso to Grant, fish live shrimp or mud minnows on a jig head, and then offshore mangrove snappers on the reefs and wrecks in 70 to 110 feet of water. Drift chunks of bait in your chum slick brief for them snappers.
Another person not registered.
No, come on, man. You guys got to get registered. Come on.
Just do it. Just do it.
It's
just
easy.
do it. Just do it.
Go ahead.
Okay, if you really want to get that swordfish bite in the Flagler Construction Equipment Northwest region, it's possible, but you better be fueled up, right, Hag?
That is true. Well, first off, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Belated, but happy birthday. Swordfish in my region, a lot of people don't target them, but we've actually got a really good swordfish. The problem is, like you said, you're going to have to be fueled up. You're going to be spending the night. You're going to have to make a major run to get out there. Most of the stuff during the show works in my region. Squid into the light, very popular. You want to get to that 1,200 to 1,600 feet of water. That's the place to be. And like I said, an overnight trip, even with a Go Fast boat, to get out there, you're going to have to spend some time doing it. You hear of a few being caught a little closer in and some day dropping as well. But most of the fish, like I said, you're going to be making a run and you're going to be spending the night. But moving also inshore, Captain JB of JB Charters out of Apalachicola reports right now a good cobia bite right now. He's using 2 ounces of lead with 4 foot of fluorocarbon leader, a 4/0 BMC circle hook, and he said the bite's been really good right now on live croakers and live alewives. Alewives is also like a pilchard, just for those that don't know it. Right now he's catching a lot of these fish snapper fishing. When he's red snapper fishing and bringing these fish up and catching the snapper, be on the lookout for that brown shadow behind it. That's more than likely going to be a cobia. Have a bait ready, pitch it down behind them, and you can pick up that cobia too. Most of them are following those red snapper up as he's reeling them up. And I've got a photo here of a nice 37-inch long, 19-pound cobia.
Said most of them right now are staying in that 50-foot to 50 to 60-foot depth range. And that's a cobia caught with Captain JB.
All right, let's go. You got some scallop season just open. Why don't you tell me about what you hear?
It just opened up, and I got you in the water last year. It was kind of nice to get you in the water. I know you don't like doing that, but it's a lot of fun. It's something that the family really enjoys, and they had a good time. But Captain Mario Costello at a plantation inn out of Crystal River reports the scallop has been really good right now. That 4 to 5 foot grass flats around Gomez Rocks is always a go-to. Limits have been coming in every day to some of the local cleaning stations. Most of the scallops right now are sitting right on top of the grass. You don't have to do a lot of digging around. If you do have to do some digging around, it kind of stirs the bottom up and kind of blurs your vision out there and clouds up the water settlement. So you really want to try and stay floating is a good tip. Keep your feet off the bottom as much as possible. That'll help you find more scallops. Also, remember to fly those dive flags and keep an eye out for other people while you're traveling in your boat. Another little tip for scalloping, especially if you got smaller children or first-time scallopers, you want to start off fairly shallow. Get them used to what they're looking for, even if you're not finding a lot. Once you get them used to it, then you can start moving a little deeper. Also, you can also start on the lowest part of the tide. Look at your tide chart, get out there at the lowest possible tide, and that'll get them a little shallower and a little easier to find. But it's something fun. It's something you can go do in the summer and stay cool doing it. Kids love it. And I got a photo here from Terry Nadwick of the Plantation Inn with a nice limit of scallops.
All right, they're looking good. I wish I was there eating them. They look so good.
Oh, they were so good.
All right. Well, tell me what else you got. You got any fish reports from inshore?
I do. Captain Jimbo Keith, the saltwater assassin fishing charter from Cedar Key, says the inshore redfish bite right now is heating up around the outer island. He's using cut mullet on the bottom around the oyster bars. That's been the most productive. As far as artificial baits goes, he's using Bass Assassin and that little boss fished on an 1/8 ounce jig head. And he says that's been working really good too. Incoming, outgoing, doesn't really seem to matter. And keep an eye out for mullet. That's also going to be producing some fish around it. So look for those mullet schools. That'll help you find some more redfish. And I got a photo here of a nice redfish caught with Captain Jimbo on a recent trip out of Cedar Key.
So, Hag, I got a question for you. So, were you able to go up and do some scalloping? Did you do that this weekend with Christina, or what you got?
I'm still down in Boca, still tarpon fishing. I'll be here until ICAST kicks off, so we're going to plan on doing that after ICAST.
All right. Well,
tarpon fishing's still good down here. Still going at it down here, and I'm looking forward to get up there and doing some of that scalloping.
So, Jeff, we were on the topic of scallops. What is the limit for scallops for people that have never been before?
You're allowed to either have it in a pint-sized container, cleaned, or 2.5 gallons per person.
Cool.
All right.
I want to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Hag. We're going to go ahead and read your hot spots from the Northwest region. Inshore redfish on the top of the tide use cut pinfish or ladyfish for bait, and then offshore snappers on the high relief structure in 40 to 70 feet of water use a tail hook shrimp on a 1/4 ounce hookup jig. And you know what I got to say?
What?
Y'all got me in the water, and you showed that B-roll footage of the dadgum scallops, and you didn't even have a damn picture of me in there. I'm gonna quit, man.
But we'll just have to go again. Get you back in the water.
They didn't even show me in the water.
Oh,
What's
it's
that
okay.
about?
It's all right.
It's because of the Speedo.
Probably
He wasn't
what
a
it was.
Speedo. We don't want to see that.
No.
No. Okay, the Northeast region is our last and final region for our show, and we'll be right back with It's Captain and your report. Stay hooked. You don't like the water, Rick?
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy, find new roads. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. The IGFA, conservation through education. Get your hands wet. Flagler Construction Equipment, your exclusive Takeuchi dealer. And Okuma, inspired fishing.
When you're moving a big offshore boat, it's all about thrust and trust. For thrust, nothing compares to the Yamaha purpose-built 5.3-liter V8 Power Pioneer. And for trust, Yamaha's new F350C model becomes the only outboard in its horsepower class to feature a 5-year limited warranty. Never settle for less than complete confidence and control in the open water. That's Yamaha V8 Power. Get the best and forget the rest.
Inside you, there's an outside you. A you that takes the road less traveled than the road less traveled, and finds the comforts of home extremely uncomfortable. This is for that you.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Hello, welcome. So Chevy is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Really?
Let's see how quickly you can read through all their awards.
Oh gosh.
A lot of pressure.
You ready? Go.
2017 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Kelley Blue Book 2016 Best Resale Value.
2016 JD Power Highest Quality Ranking. 10 best blah blah blah.
2017 IIHS Top Safety.
Only about 90 more to go.
2016 2017 North American Car of the Year.
That's a lot of awards.
Who would have thought?
Great, now I'm gonna have to go buy a new car.
Hi, I'm Robert Shamlin with JL Marine Systems with your Power Pole tip. First, I'd like to talk about all of the upgrades that Power Pole has done to their shallow water anchors for 2017. They've reduced the overall number of models from 5 to 4. And starting with the blade, they've got an all-new redesigned stern bracket. The Pro 2 now comes with the signature holes to reduce the weight. It's available in 3 sizes, a 4-foot, 6-foot, and 8-foot. The Sportsman 2 now has a powder-coated finish in matte black, and the stern bracket has also been improved. Another thing they've done to all of the models is gone from the tubing to a heavy-duty hydraulic hose. Everything is powered by the new Sea Monster 2.0 control system. That also includes a new pump, new motor that's more powerful and more compact, which also has a new look. Next week's tip is going to go into detail about the all-new redesigned stern bracket on the blade. And that's your Power Pole tip.
Well, the Northeast Strike Zone region holds swords, and our FaceTime star, Captain Tommy Derringer, is going to tell you where. Hello, Tommy.
Hey, Rick, hey, Bree, how you guys doing tonight?
Tommy, that shirt looking good, boy. You looking big.
Flex a little bit.
Flex for nope. All right.
Well, guys, you know what? There's not a whole lot of people that really target swordfish here in the Strike Zone Northeast region, but there is a core group of anglers that get out there, and you know what? They're catching them pretty good. Now, the best time of year to catch those swordfish is going to be fall through the early winter, but they can be caught year-round. Now, most of the captains that I spoke to say that the moon is going to play a key role in the swordfish bite, and a few days before the full moon, which is about right now, is typically going to be the best, and the fish tend to feed when the moon is rising. They seem to quit as it sets. Now, that being said, most Northeast Florida anglers are going to target the swords at night. Some anglers are going to start down in the south end of the region towards Ponce, and then drift north, ending up in St. Augustine by the end of the night. Now, they use some pretty heavy tackle with big squid rigged on a 10-aught J-hook with a strobe and 24 ounces of lead, all kinds of crazy stuff. And they're fishing in over 1,000 feet of water, and they're gonna have baits at varying depths from about 100 to 400 foot deep. Now, there's also some young guns in the region that are starting to do some daytime sorting. Now, those guys, they're gonna use electric reels, and they fish in 1,500 to 2,000 feet, and they're gonna drift their baits real close to the bottom. And not a whole lot of people are willing to go those 80 plus miles it takes to get to those depths. But if you give it a shot, the sword fishing's pretty darn good out there. I got a picture here of a couple of those young guns I was talking about. Colin Phillips sent me this picture of Nate Clardy and Jack Rodberg with a nice daytime sword they caught out of St. Augustine.
Looking good. Go ahead, bub.
Well, you know, talking kingfish again this week, you know, the mangrove snapper, they're going off out there right now, but if you just want a bent rod, the kingfish is the way to go. All you need to do is net some pogies along the beach, head out to any of the nearshore reefs and wrecks, and you're gonna find some kingfish. Now, I did speak to a couple of captains that told me they're catching more fish on the downrigger this week than up top, but both methods are still working real well. Now, there's still a few cobia around in the same areas, so you're gonna wanna have a couple pitch rods ready in case one swims up to the boat while you're trolling. Now, those kings, they're running about 8 to 15 pounds, and there's a few bigger ones slowly starting to show up. Now, moving inshore, you know, we're definitely feeling the effects of some mild winters because that snook bite's really turned on throughout the region. Now, traditionally, the better snook fishing is in the south end of my region, but quite a few have been caught in the Jacksonville area the past couple of weeks. Pablo Creek up there in Jacksonville, it's holding some good snook on the outgoing tide, as well as Pellicer Creek and Palm Coast. Now, I spoke to Captain Kent Gibbons from backcountrycaptain.com. He tells me the Tomoka Basin is loaded up with those snook right now. Kent said he's been catching them on miradines and Seville stick shads, and he's just working shorelines from the Tomoka State Park all the way to State Road 40. He says look for down trees and the deeper drops along the shorelines. Now, Kent said just get on the trolling motor and really work over those shorelines with those plugs, and you're probably going to catch some decent snook. Kent sent me a picture. This is one of many of Sean White's snook that he recently caught with Captain Kent in the Tomoka Basin. Now also, you know, the tarpon fishing has really turned on the past couple of weeks. Tarpon, they're thick right now in the shrimp boat bycatch slicks, as well as in the pogie pods along the beach. Now you can just free line a pogie around those pods first thing in the morning. And if you try the shrimp boat thing, you know, there's a few different ways you can target them. I like to bring some live bait anytime I do that, either big mullet or pogies, and you can simply get behind the boat and just free line one of those baits back. You're probably gonna run into a lot of sharks doing that, but you're gonna hook a few tarpon as well. And if you time it just right, those shrimpers dump their bycatch, you can just scoop up a few of those floating fish in the chum slick. Just wait until you see a tarpon feeding on the surface and toss that bait right in his line. When fishing behind those shrimp boats, you can beef up your tackle a little bit. You know, those tarpon, they're not real shy when they're doing that. You can go to 80 to 100 pound fluorocarbon leader and use a 7 to 10-aught VMC circle hook depending on the size of the bait. I got one last photo here. This is my good buddy Breck and his daughter Natalie with a huge tarpon that Natalie caught with me behind a shrimp boat. And she fought that beast for over an hour. The rod even broke in half halfway through the battle. She still landed it, and she made some great memories with her dad.
You go, girl.
That is some great memories. You know, Tommy, good job guiding. I've been in that particular situation before, and, you know, it takes a good coach. Way to go.
All right, thanks. I saw you got a good one with Ridge the other day. A few of them, right?
Yeah, man. We had a big day, a 120, an 85, and a 45 all on fly. So it's kind of cool to see my son back there pulling me around. I get all the shots that way.
There you go. That's awesome.
All right, we'll talk to you again next week. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Great job this week. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the strike zone, northeast hotspots, inshore tarpon, in the pogie pods along the beach at first light and behind the shrimp boats, in the bycatch slicks, and then offshore, mangrove snapper spawning fish in the 80 feet depth through the entire region. Chum the fish to the top using chunks of sardines.
So Rick, speaking of swordfish, I saw in that B-roll video you caught a swordfish. Tell us about that.
I mean, I caught that fish with Randy, you know, and the cool part was that most people killed a 200-pound swordfish, but I just thought it was really be cool to make a statement of those spawning fish to let it go. So we let it go, and maybe the next time I catch him,
He'll be
big 400.
Well, good on you, sir. It's been an epic show full of fish scales and tails, but we're out of regions and out of time, so stay tuned in for just a little bit longer because when we come back, we're seeing what you're fishing for next week.
Hello, welcome. So Chevy is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Really?
Let's see how quickly you can read through all their awards.
Oh gosh, a lot of pressure.
You ready? Go.
2017 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Kelley Blue Book 2016 Best Resale Value. 2016 JD Power Highest Quality Ranking. 10 Best blah blah blah.
2017 IIHS Top Safety.
Only about 90 more to go.
2016 2017 North American Car of the Year.
That's a lot of awards.
Who would have thought?
Great, now I'm gonna have to go buy a new car.
The ultimate predator has evolved again. Now, Yamaha VMAX SHO Performance is prowling the waters in 4 hungry, exciting new models. With their 4 valves per cylinder and double overhead cam fuel-injected design, these advanced 4-stroke Predators are taking performance to a whole new level. Vicious, lean, efficient. VMAX SHO. The pack is growing.
When you're paid to put fish in the boat, you don't mess around with the thing that puts fish in the boat. Always use the best line.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes, special segments, and updated fishing reports from your region right on our homepage. Just head to ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up. Get excited, guys, because next week we are talking permit.
Oh, permit.
I love remember when we went fishing for permit?
He almost looks like he looks like a pomfret.
Yeah, it does.
Exactly.
Except a little lighter.
It's the only thing I know.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.